guilty. When I saw this one, I cracked all the way up. Dear SJ, I once slept with my friend's boyfriend. So this is a guy. I once slept with my friend's boyfriend. So, okay, let me set it up. This guy slept with his girl, a friend who's a girl's boyfriend, right? So I once slept with my friend's boyfriend. It was a stupid night of drunkenness. You don't say. It was a stupid night of drunkenness. I'm guilty because it's been some years and she and him are no longer together. Should I confess to her? Jeanette, hey, hey, you wanna do what? After doing what? Two things. Boyfriend. All right now. All right. So this is an issue in the gay community actually. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Sunny Jermaine Show. My name is Sunny Jermaine, and as ever, it's such a wonderful pleasure to have you joining us. If you're listening on your favorite podcast place, or if you're watching on YouTube, welcome. Thank you. I love you so much for watching and listening. I cannot even tell you how much you are a joy for me to bring you this for. And I have to say that thank you so much for all the feedback that you've been giving me. I just want to say, how you do? Thank you and shout out to Wendy Williams for giving us that phrase, how you doing? Contrary to popular beliefs, she actually invented that line in the early 90s. Yeah, way before Friends, Joey Tribbiani did it on the Friends show, the comedy show. So yeah, those guys usually like to claim credit for it, but no, it was Wendy Williams. So she had a gay co-host, an actual co-host on a radio show in New York, and so she wanted to find out if he was gay or not, and she was like, "How you do?" And then it kind of stuck, and everybody in the black community, when they're making a greeting, we say, "How you do?" So you gonna hear me say how you doing pretty much all the time, right? I love it. I love Wendy Williams. Wendy Williams is an inspiration. So speaking of Wendy being an inspiration, so this show tonight, I don't have a guest. It's gonna be about hot topics. And of course, I used to have my own version of Ask SJ where people send me letters and ask me stuff. So we are going to be doing Ask SJ later on. Got some juicy letters up in here. Child, you stay put. Don't go anywhere. So speaking of Wendy Williams, she's on the recovery. She lost the Wendy Williams show, as you might already know. I was sad. I was really sad because most people might not know, but Wendy Williams was actually discovered by the same guy who discovered Oprah Winfrey, Mr. Dennis Swanson. So he's like the top dog in the business of talk. I'm also in the business of talk. This is a talk show. Of course, everybody calls it podcast nowadays, but essentially the format is all the same. It remains talk. So shout out to Dennis Swanson for discovering Oprah and Wendy. But of course, Wendy took a more of a hot topics path. And of course, it got her lots of critical acclaim. At the same time, it also got her lots of negative fan mail. But hey, we all love hot topics. People pretend like they don't, but they do. So Wendy, if you follow her on her new Instagram page, she has a new producer, and they have been teasing us and promising us a new show. Probably it's going to be a podcast. Who knows what it's going to be like, but we are eagerly waiting. We are waiting. I don't know if her old production company, Debma Mercury, will bring her back. In the last time that they gave a statement regarding Wendy, I think it was in 2020, around February, March, somewhere there, they said that there will always be a space for Wendy Williams on daytime television. So we'll wait to see how that happens. But otherwise, all that I can say is, Miss Wendy, we love you. How you doing? How you doing? We wish you a speedy recovery. And unfortunately, Debma Mercury, they pulled off a move. They wiped out. Okay, they didn't wipe out Wendy Williams' YouTube channel. They just blocked it, so we can't access it. So many diehard fans like us, we were really crying because we can't watch all the episodes anymore. Or shout out to the co-hosts who throw a little something on YouTube. They know who they are. Hi co-hosts. Hello. How you doing? So speaking of the replacement for Wendy, that daytime space, Sherri Shepherd, Miss Sherri. Hey, you're a fan favorite. We love what she's doing. I was always going to watch Sherri Shepherd. I really was. I mean, I've always liked Sherri. I speak about her chapter one of my book that she was absolutely phenomenal when she was doing The View, even though most people didn't like her. I thought she was great. And, Sherri, she's loud, she's bubbly, she has a lot of personality. She is definitely not Wendy Williams, which is what we are loving. She has her own brand of feel good, supporting black women. I love it. I'm enjoying it. It's been released as it's been billed as being the number one talk show of all the new talk show. Excuse me. Of all the new talk shows which debuted this September 2022 in the American television season. I knew she was gonna do well. I knew she was gonna do well. Compared to Jennifer Hudson, I haven't watched Jennifer Hudson that much. I'm not a fan of musicians doing talk shows. I've never watched Kelly Clarkson either because I don't see it. It's not my cup of tea. It's not. So I've never watched the Kelly Clarkson show. I tried to watch the Jennifer Hudson show, but I think the mistake that she made for me was to have Simon Cowell as her first guest. For what? For a in? Why? Huh? Simon Cowell, boring old grumpy man. I felt like Jennifer should have picked somebody more fun, somebody more hip, somebody that was completely disconnected from her and her previous career. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say out. That I wish she had picked someone from either television or, somebody else, somebody not in the music industry like she is. I would have appreciated that so much more. Also making the top stories this past few months, Kanye. I didn't want to do the story, but you guys like Kanye. I do like Kanye. The thing is, Kanye is not well, and him not being well, as we all know, it's affecting his celebrity, it's affecting his career. He's no longer a billionaire. Not that I care really. I wish Kanye well as well. The entertainment industry is very hard. So mental health, self-care, you're gonna see it with Ask SJ as well. We're gonna talk about mental health, of course. But then in Kanye's case, it was a mental health situation where he was actually taking medication for it, because that's another level of mental health. All of us, we on social media and in everyday conversations, we're now speaking of mental health in terms of it being a lifestyle. Like, oh, my mental health is. But then, there are levels when your mental health actually becomes a medical issue, right? So, yeah, I wish Kanye all the best. I wish Kanye continues with the treatment that he was getting, allegedly what he was getting. What else? Top stories. Also, Elon Musk. Another topic I don't want to talk about. I've never been a fan of Elon. I'm sorry. I've just never been an Elon Musk fan. What can I say? He's always been, this pompous person, this character. We love your products, Elon. You've achieved it. Tesla is great. I don't drive, so I'm just saying Tesla is great. But but come on now. Leave our Twitter alone. So Elon Musk has bought Twitter, so officially he now owns it, and many experts were saying that he bought it at an inflated price. Do you remember when Instagram was bought by Mark Zuckerberg for $1 billion, and we were all like, wow, you can just create something and sell it for $1 billion. But Elon Musk bought Facebook. Ah, Elon Musk bought Twitter for $44 billion. That's quite a lot of money. So yeah, all the best with you and Twitter. I'm still hanging on to Twitter because for me, Twitter has always been an echo chamber. Somebody tweeted it very well a few days ago that, if you are not in the majority, it was either you were in with the in people or you were out. So yeah, I've never gotten carried away with Twitter. I mean, look, it's a social media platform. You're talking to strangers. So in rule number one of parenting, that all parents all over the world anyway will always tell you that don't talk to strangers. But of course, Twitter, social media, and all of them, they allowed us avenues to interact with each other and connect with each other. Of course, I'm grateful for that. I'll never take that away from it, which is what I love so much about social media. But at the same time, we see that a lot of hate has been thrown into social media. For me, I insulate myself. I typically don't follow too many accounts to avoid that, because I'm a spiritual person, so I can't have so much noise in my ears. I simply cannot. I just can't. So I've never really followed more than 300 accounts on Twitter, just for my own mental health, because it's like magazines and newspapers and television. Really, you get to choose what goes into your eyeballs, and yeah, I got that jealously myself. So I've always tried to follow people that I know were credible, people that I knew I could trust their editorial with how they present things of a current affairs nature, on social media, because it affects us. It really does. These things have real world impact. That's why, people like Donald Trump and Kanye West were banned from social media. Yeah, so, well, congrats, Elon Musk, on buying Twitter. Good luck. We hope you keep the platform safe in the way that it was. But yeah, Twitter was just, yeah, I think after 2015, I Twitter took a downward spiral, which it was already going down anyway. I remember when I first joined Twitter I think I joined Twitter in the early 2010s, thereabout, and the trending topic that time, I remember, because Big Brother, I just come from Germany, and Big Brother, there was this character Huntington from Uganda. I remember it clearly. He had just slapped a South African woman in the Big Brother house, and it was trending all over the world. And yeah, people were already on a downward spiral even by then. My spiritual coach from afar, my spiritual coach in my mind, Ian Lavanzat, she once said that social media has revealed how mean we are as a people. And yeah, we really are. And also, to recap on the SJ show and the hot topics of the SJ show, for those who were following already, my first guest was Carla. How amazing was Carla? Carla Kabamba. She's a Dutch woman from the Netherlands. As she said, she came to the Netherlands when she was a chubby, cute little baby, and she grew up here. And I was pleasantly surprised that most people appreciated her views on religion. I would have never thought that was the most interesting topic that people were asking me about. That, oh wow, we really appreciated Carla's viewpoints on religion, and not just Carla's viewpoints on religion, even Coyote Gomez in the second episode when he spoke about religion as well. It seemed like people really, really appreciated religion. I'm surprised. I'm not religious myself, as you might know already, but I also appreciated particularly when Carla spoke about how, in trying to integrate into a new country, she found churches as a way of meeting people, which I thought was really clever. And I can imagine, because I don't go to church, so I don't have a network, because you need to meet people somewhere. You need some kind of an introduction to meet people. So I do appreciate church, that it does give people a space to network in its own way. Yeah. And by the way, Carla is no longer part of her party, which she won the seat in Amsterdam for. So the podcast has been overtaken by events. She quit. Um, she says that she gave a statement in one of the Dutch newspapers. She was saying that she felt her party rather felt that she was too demure. She was too simple for the missions of the party. I mean, as you also watched in the podcast, people were telling me that, oh wow, Carla was so, she was so on point, she was so poised and gracious. I loved it. I really was. She is a political scientist. You can tell that she is actually trained in diplomacy. So yeah, and unfortunately her party feels like she needed to, not in my show but in general, that she needed to ramp up and trump up her political messaging. For me, I wouldn't change a thing. I like what she does. That's why she was my first guest. I like how she does it. I love how she's able to connect to people in her own way. Yeah, which I think is great. Yeah, also Coyote, that statement on religion was really helpful to a lot of queer people. So shout out to Coyote for giving us that interpretation that that Sodom and Gomorrah was not destroyed because of gays in Sodom and Gomorrah. There were a lot of things which Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed for. I don't believe in the Bible. I if you do, go to watch episode 2 and hear if you, yeah, because most gay guys are Christian, or Muslim or religious, so I don't know how that works, but for me, I'm not religious, so I couldn't care less. And then there was Z, of course. We did get a bit of criticism about Z's episode because people felt that she, let me not even say people felt that she, because I responded to the people and said, guys, we always have to remember that an interview represents the person being interviewed, not entirely, but at least some experience of that person's life. There's a tendency of wanting LGBT people to have a spokesperson, that whenever you are LGBT, you are speaking on behalf of a group. No, LGBT is not a church, it's not a religion, it's not an institution. It's not a society. It's okay. It's not like a society. It's ordinary people minding their business, ordinary people living their lives. So Z was speaking from her experience in life, and that speaks to any interview in the world. We can never get carried away and say, even when a president speaks, a president never represents an entire country. They can try, but they really can't. They cannot. So we must always be careful within the LGBT community of always wanting somebody to be a figurehead. Somebody speaks from their private and personal experience. Yeah. And also on Dando's show, I loved it. That was such a good talk with Dando. We most certainly forgot to speak about Deck Magazine, which we worked on a few years before that. But yeah, I literally met Undando 20 years ago in a UNICEF project. Yeah. So anyway, those were the hot topics for today. Now let's get into my favorite part of the show, Ask SJ. So brief background of what Ask SJ is. So I used to do Ask SJ for a magazine in Zimbabwe, and this was where people would send questions in to me and ask me about spiritual stuff or emotional stuff or any problem that you might face. And yeah, I did it for quite some time. And yeah, it comes with being in the business of talk that people ask you stuff. And remember, that's one of the reasons why I have a book. I have a book. It's on Amazon. How you doing? I wrote a book because people used to ask me a lot, how did you do this? How did you do that? How did this, that happen? So I thought, okay, let me write a book. And then in my mind, I always thought I'd just write it and just throw it there. But then people would keep asking stuff, and I highly appreciate that. On that point, let's get into our first question. It's going to be nice and juicy and long. Dear SJ, I have girl problems. I am a 26-year-old guy and my girlfriend is 22. We have been together for 3 years, but she has been flirting with 40-something-year-olds. Ooh, girlfriend, what's happening? It's been a pattern, and I don't know whether she's sleeping with them, but I'm convinced through chats that she is. Ooh, you went through her phone, yeah? The other day I snapped. Ooh, the other day I snapped and hit her. Yikes. You already know what I'm going to say, right? Anyway, this is unlike me to do that. I'm feeling like I'm having major emotional dissonance. I ended the relationship to work on myself, and because I cannot engage someone while I have a hole to fill inside me, heartbroken. Whew. Wow. This is a real letter, by the way. It's absolutely real. I did not make it up. There's always in the when you're in the business of an agony column or an ask someone column, people always think that the letters are not true, but this is an actual letter that I got. And I paraphrased it and edited it for clarity, of course, because it was quite longer than that. And I must say it's somebody that I do know. From Africa, right? So, boy. Some emotional dissonance indeed. Some emotional dissonance indeed. Let me have a look and try to refresh my mind. So, you're 26, she's 22. She's flirting with 40-something-year-olds. So, first of all, you are having emotional dissonance, because that would mean that you met her when she was 19. She was a baby. She really was a baby. However, okay, I'm going to take this from the top going down, right? We're going to get to the domestic violence part, and I'm going to whoop your ass for that. But first of all, to deal with you first. Number one, you're right about emotional dissonance. Something like this definitely can lopside you. You say that I almost left this part out. You say that you did everything for her, from buying her stuff, cosmetics, to taking care of her in your own little way, buying her gifts, excuse me, and taking care of her, taking her out for shopping and lunches and dinners and what have you. So I can applaud you for that. Of course, you were trying to be a gentleman. However, I'm sorry to have to tell you that if it reached this stage where you felt like she was flirting clearly in front of you to a degree that you have some level of evidence from her phone that yeah, your relationship had reached an end. Sorry to tell you that. And don't make this about you. It means that she is looking for something else. it has nothing to do with you, right? It has nothing to do with you based on what you told me, because there are two sides of the story. I can only respond to what you told me. So this is the part where I'm gonna, oh gosh, where's my marker? I don't have I don't have my little duster. Okay, I do. I should have a bigger one. Luckily I have an extra. Okay, so this is what's gonna be a regular feature of Ask SJ, where I actually scribble down stuff because I like to have my theories from my book whenever I remember them and just pop them down. So there are three stages. There are three. There are three stages. Oh, three stages of a relationship, right? Number one, um, is respect. Number two is trust. Number three is right. Three stages of a relationship, as you can see. So I always tell this to people all the time that if you if first of all, in my culture, and I'm Ndebele, or in Zimbabwe my tribe is Ndebele. Also in South Africa, our sister cousins are Zulu. So you can also call me Zulu. I accept my Zuluness. Thank you very much. We always say a boy and a girl cannot be friends, right? Period. I know people in the 21st century, they say, yeah, boy and a girl can be friends. I'm old school, honey. Grandma over here is not doing that. A boy and a girl cannot be friends. When I was younger, I used to believe that a boy and a girl can be friends, but when I grew up, most certainly not. So if she's flirting, that means respect for you is gone. Bam. Right? And the closest thing to loving someone, I've been saying this literally for decades. The closest thing to loving somebody is respecting them. So, sorry, the closest thing to loving somebody is trusting them. And so, when respect is gone, when trust is gone, it is time for you to remove your love. It's that simple for me. You have to be mathematical about it, or otherwise you're gonna get hurt, or you're gonna end up beating your girl, or worse. And everybody will say that you're a monster. Yes, that's because you will be, for reacting like that when you have an option to leave. So for me, when I'm in a relationship, I don't speak to other guys in a personal setup. Like, I don't feel the need to. I really don't. I really don't. And that's why I think so many of my relationships were good, because I didn't feel the need to attract the attention of somebody else, because respect and trust, those are invisible things, right? As you can see from my division here, those are invisible things. And so when you are taking your respect of your partner and your trust of your partner and giving it to somebody else, you are two steps away from giving your love to somebody else as well. So I have to condemn you for beating your girlfriend, putting your hands on her. That's absolutely crazy. And so for me, I always say it's like this: three steps: respect, trust. If those two things are gone, these are intangible things. Unfortunately, people like to focus too much on tangible things in relationships. If those two are gone, take your love away. Take your love away. Keep your heart clean. If you are as clean as you describe yourself, keep your heart clean. When you keep your heart clean, you also keep your hands clean. Right? Keep your heart clean, keep your hands clean. Are we clear? Yes. When your respect and your trust is taken away from the relationship, you have the responsibility to also take your love away. Yeah? So that's heartbroken. Let's see if there's anything else that I missed from your letter. Yeah, so it's not that you have a hole to fill inside of you, and it's not that you are working on yourself. There's a danger in the mental health space that we have in this day and age where everybody wants to issue a statement and say they're working on themselves. Are you sure you're working on yourself? Based on what you explained to me, you didn't cheat on her, you tried to provide for her, and unless if there's something else you're not telling me, but of course, based on what you told me, you were doing everything right in the relationship, yeah? So I wouldn't say you have a hole to fill inside of you. I wouldn't say you have to work on yourself. I would just say, as a people, we have to understand that sometimes relationships start, sometimes relationships have a middle, sometimes relationships have an end. I learned that from the movie Hitch in 2005, right? There was a beginning. The character Eva, I love that movie. Eva Mendes' character says there was a beginning, there was a middle, and an end. You know, we should stop having this unhealthy attachments of wanting relationships to last longer than they can or more than they should. You know, so you had good 3 years. Yeah, you said you were in a relationship for 3 years. You had a good run of 3 years. Yeah, pat yourself in the back and keep it moving. Do as I do. I don't dwell too much on the ending of a relationship because yeah, it happens. It's life. Relationships end sometimes. Yeah. All right. I have 2 letters. I've written them in one, so we push that one aside. Dear SJ, how do I cope with my anxiety? Ooh. In the iconic words of Jada Pinkett, that's deep. When Jada goes like, that's deep, you'll know that it's deep. Anxiety, anxiety, anxiety. This is a big question. It was the shortest question, but it's really big. Because anxiety is often a symptom that is being triggered by events in the past, something that is unresolved. So I would say, from a spiritual point of view, remember, I'm not a therapist. I can only give you a life coaching from a spiritual guide that I am. I am a licensed spiritual guide. What happened? If you follow Oprah Winfrey, one of my favorite spiritual coaches, she has a book, What Happened to You? And often anxiety is triggered by events in the past. And so now that you are in your present life, in your adult life, your spirit knows that you have some healing to do. Your spirit knows that there is something else that you should be doing with your life, and you're not doing it, right, in order to heal yourself. And like most spiritual coaches of the world, I would say get into service. Get into service. By service, I mean the world has so many problems. If you have little bits of privilege, find ways to help other people. You heal yourself by helping other people. Yeah, that's just the mainstay of healing in any language and in any culture. You heal yourself by helping other people heal. So don't stay stuck in, it's not even your anxiety, right? It's a universal experience. My spiritual coach Jan Lavanzat says it best. Don't say my blood pressure. Don't say my diabetes. Don't say my anxiety. I always hear people say my anxiety. It's not yours. It's a universal experience. You found it in the world. You're gonna leave it in the world. So just say anxiety is a condition that you're dealing with at present moment, and you are trying to work your way out of it. How about that? Speak to yourself in a different way. Start with you. Speak to yourself in a different way. Number two, then get into service. Find a charity, help less fortunate people than you, because obviously if you have the capacity to watch me on YouTube and write me this letter, that means you do have a level of privilege, and it's always good to know that there are underprivileged people than us. And yeah, help out. I'm not saying give yourself out to charity. I said get into service means you give a certain amount of your time for service, charity, something where you're going to benefit without benefiting, or where the other people are going to benefit without you benefiting. How about that? Yeah. So get into service, find a charity, involve yourself in community work, support groups, you know, push yourself out of your comfort zone. You know, go to a support group for drug addicts. You know, speak to people in a circle that you've never spoken to. You know, speak to people that would otherwise never cross your path, because you never know if a certain problem can affect you in the future or your child, right? So that's just an example. Find a support group for people with an addiction, drug addiction, and just go there and say, guys, I've never had a drug problem. I just want to support you. How can I support you? You know, you don't have to. I call it the danger of relatability, where as a people we only want to work on service issues in the world when they relate to us. And that's a danger. That's a danger, because you have children coming up after you. And when they don't have an example of how to get into service, that danger of relatability will make it hard, because they don't have an example of service like how I'm explaining it now. So do it for a community. Right, for the last one before we close the show. Oh, it's gonna be nice and juicy. When I saw this one, I cracked all the way up. Dear SJ, I once slept with my friend's boyfriend. So this is a guy. I once slept with my friend's boyfriend. So, okay, let me set it up. This guy slept with his girl, a friend who's a girl's boyfriend, right? So I once slept with my friend's boyfriend. It was a stupid night of drunkenness. You don't say. It was a stupid night of drunkenness. I'm guilty because it's been some years and she and him are no longer together. Should I confess to her? Jeanette, hey, you wanna do what? After doing what? Two things. Boyfriend. All right now. All right. So this is an issue in the gay community actually. That's cheating. That's straight up cheating. You know, I know some gay guys don't think that sleeping with a guy, supposedly straight guy. Don't even ask. I don't want to go there. Not today, Satan. I'm not gonna go there. But this guy slept with a man who had a girlfriend, right? I don't know whether he's gay or straight. Well, who knows? But anyway, it's many people in the gay community wouldn't consider that cheating, but I do. I consider it cheating, because cheating is a partner that is unwanted in the relationship, that is unknown in the relationship. So she doesn't know about you. She doesn't know that you slept with her man, right? Even though they're no longer together. And now you want to confess it after you're saying it's been some years? Yikes. Yikes. So you can do two things, of course. Either you can let sleeping dogs lie, or you can confess. If your guilty conscience is eating you that much, confess. But as you know, you'll be outing him, and yeah. But so there's so much happening here. You can either let sleeping dogs lie, you know, or number two, you can confess to her, confessing to her knowing that you are outing him, right? Number two, confessing to her knowing that your friendship with her is over. Pretty much. Pretty much. Yeah, because that's cheating. Doesn't matter whether we don't know whether it's gay or straight, whatever the case was, he cheated on her with you, right? So here for me, my focus shall be on the cheating. That if you wanna confess, you're gonna lose her as a friend. So good luck to you. Alright guys, thank you so much for sending in your questions to Ask SJ. Be sure to send more of your questions and I'll read them out. You can send me an email, and here's the email address for you: holla@sunnygermain.co, right? holla@sunnygermain.co, HOLLA@sunnygermain.co. So good people, until next time when I have a guest on the SJ show, thank you so much. Hope to see you then. Love you lots. Bye bye.